and there is none like you. With you we win, you're our champion. With you we can't lose, we always win. You're our champion. Oh, Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win, you're our champion. With you we can't lose, we always win. You're our champion. Oh, we lift our hands, we lift our voice, we celebrate our champion. We sing hallelujah, for the King who is victorious. We lift our hands, we lift our voice, we celebrate our champion. We sing hallelujah, for the King who is victorious. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win, you're our champion. With you we can't lose, we always win. You're our champion. Oh, Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win, you're our champion. With you we can't lose, we always win. You're our champion. Oh, Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win, you're our champion. With you we can't lose, we always win. You're our champion. Oh, Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win, you're our champion. With you we can't lose, we always win. You're our champion. Oh, we lift our hands, we lift our voice, we celebrate our champion. We sing hallelujah, for the King who is victorious. We lift our hands, we lift our voice, we celebrate our champion. We sing hallelujah, hallelujah, for the King who is victorious. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win, you're our champion. With you we can't lose, we always win, you're our champion. Oh, come on, Bruce, Worthy, 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 worthy is our Savior. Worthy, 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 worthy. He's worthy. And as we have gathered this great rising, excuse me, this Yom Shali, a day of celebration, a day of truly enlightenment, a day as we come to seek the face of our Abba, a time that we come to seek his heart and not just his hand, that we may know, excuse me, his will for our lives, and that we may cry out to him, not just for ourselves, but for those that don't have a voice, for those that can't cry out for themselves. We come together this great rising to cry out for them. Excuse me, and it is so. As we begin every time of prayer, as we begin service, as we began our day, always began with the scrolls, and we're going to be coming from Devarim chapter 5, the Decalogue repeated by Yahuwah, chapter 5, verses 6 through 22, and it reads, Aleph, I am Yahuwah, your power, which brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, from the bed of slavery. Bet, you shall have no other power before me. You shall not make you any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in Shemayim above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in Shemayim beneath the earth. You shall not bow down yourself unto them, nor serve them, for I, Yahuwah, your power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the Abba upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that are me and keep my commandments. Excuse me. Gimel, you shall not take the name of Yahuwah, your power, and falsify it, for Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that takes his name and empties it. Dalet, guard the Sabbath day to set it apart, as Yahuwah, your power, has commanded you. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of Yahuwah, your power. In it you shall not do any work, you nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your ox, nor your ass, nor any of your cattle, nor your foreigner that is within your gates, that your manservant and your maidservant may rest as well as you. And remember that you were a servant in the land of Mitzrayim, and that Yahuwah your power brought you out of there through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore Yahuwah your power commanded you to keep the Sabbath day. Hey, esteem your Abba and your Ima as Yahuwah your power has commanded you. It may be prolonged, and that it may go well with them which Yahuwah sworn to your Abbas to give you, to give unto your in the land which Yahuwah your power is about to give you. Wab, you shall not murder. Zayin, neither shall you commit adultery. Ket, neither shall you steal. Tet, neither shall you bear false witness against your neighbor. Yud, neither shall you desire your neighbor's wife, neither shall you covet your neighbor's bed, his field or his manservant or his maidservant, his ox or his ass, or anything that is in your neighbor's, that is your neighbor's. These words which Yahuwah spoke unto all your assembly in the mount out of the midst of the fire of the cloud and of a thick darkness with a great voice, and he added no more, and he wrote it in 2 tablets of stone, and delivered them unto me. And it is so. And it is so. And it is so. Luke 18:1, men ought to always pray and not faint. as we go to Yahushua the son of Nun, chapter 1, verses 7 and 8, an all-time favorite, and not just a favorite, but it is truly a foundation, foundational verses unto us as we read them and fortify ourselves in them. Verse 7 says, "Only be you strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the Torah which Moshe my servant commanded you. Turn not from it to the right nor to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go." Verse 8, as I have tailored it to fit our time of confession, let us confess this together. "I will not let the scroll of the Torah,
I will not let the scroll of the Torah
depart out of my mouth,
but
I shall meditate in it day and night, that I may observe to do according to all that is written in it. For then I shall make my way prosperous, and act wisely, Now look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, and you shall act wisely, and you shall act wisely. Look at your other neighbor and tell your neighbor, and you shall act wisely, and you shall act wisely. Now take your hand and place it over your heart and say, I shall act wisely. Say it again, Abba Yah, I shall act wisely. I endeavor to act wisely. I endeavor to act wisely. Come on, I endeavor to act wisely. And it is so. And it is so. It is important that we endeavor to act wisely. Let me tell you something. Acting wisely sometimes means being quiet and pulling yourself away from situations and people. Sometimes you just cannot, the writings tell us that we sometimes have to walk away, and sometimes you just have to deal with situations from a distance until you're ready to deal with them head on. That doesn't mean that we're cowards. That doesn't mean that we are not walking in the Ruach. That means that we're using wisdom, because there are times it is best just to walk away and leave a situation alone. So that you will find yourself not being in a situation where you end up messing up with your words. Are you understanding? Yes. And so sometimes we just have to pull away so that we can use wisdom and seek the face of Abba Yah to know what we're to do and how we're to do it. All right. Debre Hemayim Bet, chapter 7, verse 14. Which is also known in the English rendering Chronicles, 2 Chronicles 7 and 14. And it reads, "If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from Shemayim and will forgive their sin and heal their land. Now my eyes shall be open and my ears attentive to the prayer that is made in this place. For now have I chosen and set apart this house, that my name may be there forever. And my eyes and my heart shall always be there. And as for you, if you walk before me as thou wilt, your eye will walk, and do according to all that I have commanded you, and shall observe my statutes and my commandments, or my statutes, and my judgments." It's important that we always keep an eye on the things, above all, keep our heart upon those things that pertain to uprightness, and show us how to walk in the truth that Abba Yah has given unto us as his people. And it is so. For we know challenges are going to come, but if we maintain, we will be able to overcome, because we're more than conquerors through him that has ahabed us, more than we could ever ahaba ourselves. Chapter 6, verses 1 through 18, and it reads, and this is in the book of Devarim, or the scroll of Devarim. "These are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which Yahuwah your power commanded to teach you, that you might do them in the land where you're going to enter and possess it. That you might fear Yahuwah your power to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command you, your son, and your grandson, all the days of your life, and that your days may be prolonged. Hear therefore, O Yisrael, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily as Yahuwah, power of your Abbas, has promised you in the land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Yisrael, Yahuwah our supreme one. Yahuwah is Akkad. Shema Yisrael, Yahuwah is our Savior. Yahuwah is Akkad. And you shall Ahaba Yahuwah your supreme one with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your bed, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of your bed and on your gates. And it shall be when Yahuwah your power shall have brought you into the land which he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give you great cities which you did not build, houses full of great things which you filled not, and wells dug which you did not dig, vineyards and olive trees which you did not plant. When you have eaten and be full, then beware lest you forget Yahuwah which brought you forth out of the land of Mitzrayim, from the bed of slavery. You shall fear Yahuwah your power and serve him, and shall swear by his name. You shall not go after the power of the people which are round about you. For Yahuwah your power is a jealous power among you, lest the anger of Yahuwah your power be kindled against you, and he destroy you from off the face of the earth. You shall not tempt Yahuwah your power as you tempted him in Massah. You shall diligently keep the commandments of Yahuwah your power, and his testimonies and his statutes which he has commanded you. And you shall do that which is right in the sight of Yahuwah, that it may be well with you, and that you may go in and possess the great land which Yahuwah swore unto your fathers. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Tehillim 63 and 1, which is a foundational scripture for us. There are many, many more, but this is just the one that Abba placed in my heart for us to read as a platform for our time of early morning prayer. I know people pray different times in the morning, but this is the time that was placed upon my heart for that early morning prayer, that 5 a.m. prayer. It is a sacrifice, but let me tell you something, that sacrifice does not go unnoticed. Are you understanding me?
Yes.
The greater the sacrifice, the greater the Baruch. Always remember that. Tehillim 63 and 1, and it reads, O power, you are my power. Early will I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh longs for you in a dry and thirsty land, where no mayim is, to see your power and your beauty, so as I have seen you in the sanctuary. Because your ahava and kindness is better than life, my lips shall praise you. Thus will I group you while I live. I will lift up my hands in your name. My soul shall be satisfied, as with marrow and fatness, and my mouth shall praise you with joyful lips, when I remember you upon my bed. And meditate on you in the night watches. Because you have been my help, therefore in the shadow of your wings will I rejoice. My soul follows, pursues you. Your right hand upholds me. But those that seek my soul to destroy it shall go into the lower parts of the earth. They shall fall by the sword, they shall be eaten by the jackals. But the king shall rejoice in power, everyone that swears by him shall see beauty. But the mouth of them that speak lies shall be stopped, and it is so. And it is so. We have a promise. If people are running their mouths and constantly putting their mouths out there, lying and trying to profane your name and your credibility and your character, just remember this: they will be stopped. Their mouths will be stopped. We don't know how and what he's going to do, but we know it will be. But we can rest in this and know all we have to do is act what? Wisely. And by acting wisely, we open the door and move out of the way and let Abba Yah do what he does best, and that's be who he is, and that is the sovereign king. And it is so.
And it is so.
As we've come to this point, you may bow, you may kneel, you may stand, but whatever your posture is, let your posture still be of belief as we cry out to Abba Yah and seek his heart and to seek his ways. And it is so.
And it is so.
Abba Yah, in the mighty name of Yahushua HaMashiach, as we stand before you this great rising, Abba Yah, we first and foremost ask that you forgive us of any and all sin. Blot out our transgressions, that there be nothing between us and thee. We ask, Abba Yah, that you would breathe on us, that you would immerse us afresh in your truth. As we stand before you this great rising, this Yom Shali, we told you, Abba Yah, for that what our ears have heard and that what our eyes have seen thus far. As you continue, Abba Yah, to groom us and to nurture us and to Pull us into a place, a higher place in you, as you continue to take us to a place, Abba Yah, of longing and desiring of your way and your will for our lives. I told you, Abba Yah, for a set-apart life that you've given unto us. Breathe into us, Abba Yah, the Ruach Kodesh. As we stand before you, Abba Yah, we long for you, we desire you, we crave you, we hunger and thirst after your uprightness. As we come before you this great rising, we ask that you feed us till we want no more, till there is no room for anything else in our lives. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, for those that are going through in their hearts, in their minds, and even in their wills, Abba Yah, for that constant struggle daily as they continue to rise, and they rise sometime, Abba Yah, feeling disconnected and disjointed, feeling alone and feeling ostracized and feeling by themselves. I pray, Abba Yah, this great rising, that this would be a day that they would stand and they would take control of their emotions and their feelings in the Torah which you have given unto us, that they would stand this great rising and they would decree from the bottom of their heart that they are victorious and that they are not defeated, but they are victorious, and that they are the head and not the tail, and that they are above and not beneath. As we stand before you, Abba Yah, we told you that every situation we find ourselves in, no matter whether it is great, bad, ugly, or indifferent, you continue to give us the victory. You continue to grant us our desires based upon our belief. And you told us that you would give us the desires of our heart. And I told you that the desire of our heart is birthed and stemmed from the Torah. I told you, Abba Yah, for your uprightness being manifested in us and through us, your set-apartness distinguishing us from the world and from those that are outside of Torah truth. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, that you would speak to our hearts and that you would speak to our minds as we continue to cry out to you. Not just on this day, but every day of our lives. This is the day that we open ourselves up and make ourselves available and open up this time to come together in a time of community prayer, in a time that we come together as mishpachah prayer. I told you, Abba Yah, for this time and for those that desire to be in an atmosphere of prayer. I told you, Abba Yah, for stirring up the gifts in and upon your people, that wherever they may be, Abba Yah, they will feel your presence and they will feel, Abba Yah, your longing to be connected to us, your people. I told you, Abba Yah, for the victory over every circumstance in our lives, for those that are going through in their relationships, spousal or troubles. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, that you would send your deliverance and that you would bring shalom in the midst. For those that are connected to those that are outside of your covenant, I pray that you will give them the strength to continue to stand and continue to be that light that shines in the midst of obscurity and darkness. Let them be strong and let their skin become tough to the words, and even those, not just the words of rejection, but even the rejection physically, mentally, socially, economically. Give them the strength, Abba Yah, whether they are male or female. Give them the strength to endure, to be able to stand, and having done all to stand, stand therefore with the loins girded about with truth. I told you, Abba Yah, for your will being done in us and through us. I told you, Abba Yah, for helping us, keeping our hearts and minds stayed upon you and staying focused in the midst and in the times of trial and trying of our belief. I told you, Abba Yah, this great rising for healing is the children's bread. For those that are in need of healing emotionally, economically, and needing healing, Abba Yah, in every area of their lives. For those that need healing from diabetes, that need healing, Abba Yah, from lupus, and needs healing, Abba Yah, from obesity, and even those that suffer with anorexic and suffer with, Abba Yah, low self-esteem, Abba Yah, those that suffer with pride and arrogance. This day, Abba Yah, bring complete and total healing, that we may truly be a people that are known by our set-apartness, that we are in the Torah. I told you, Abba Yah, that we are not in a time of competition, but that we all walk together. For you said, every joint supplieth. And as we supply wherever we are, I told you, Abba Yah, that the greatest supplier is you, and that you continue to supply us with our needs, that you continue to bring us forth, and that you continue, Abba Yah, to give us stability and help us stay focused in this time of trying. For those, Abba Yah, that are in great need of deliverance. I told you, Abba Yah, this day for your hand being strong upon the lives of your people as we continue to seek you to know your will and to know your heart in this hour and in this season. Abba Yah, we won't give up and we won't trade in and we won't trade out our way of life because it gets a little rough. We won't. We are determined to stand before you. We are determined to be a set apart people. We are determined to sacrifice those things that need to be sacrificed. We are determined, Abba Yah, to stand every day and stand, and having done all to stand, standing therefore with our loins girt about with your truth and girt about with strength. I told you, Abba Yah, for your will being manifested in us in this day and in this hour. I told you, Abba Yah, for keeping us on that street and that path called straight, that we dare not abort the mission and that we dare not move and get out of place, but that we will stand still and see your salvation made manifested and clear to us. I pray for those, Abba Yah, that are in Biafra, those that are in Demona, those that are in Dali, those that are in places, Abba Yah, that they need your help and need, Abba Yah, for you to continue to open doors. For those that are expanding and stretching out and stretching forth, I praise you, Abba Yah, for continually causing things to work in their esteem. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, for those that are in Texas and for those that are in South and North Carolina, for those that are in Georgia, Abba Yah, for those that are in Washington, D.C., for those that are in Baltimore, for those that are in Virginia, Abba Yah, for those that are in Washington State, for those, Abba Yah, that are across the water, for those, Abba Yah, that are in the UK, Abba Yah, for those, Abba Yah, that are in France, for those, Abba Yah, that are in Africa, for those, Abba Yah, that are in that are scattered to the four extremities. I pray, Abba Yah, that you will continue to uphold them, and those that are making an impact and they're causing things to happen. I told you, Abba Yah, for strengthening them even the more. I pray, Abba Yah, for those that have become a little weary and weak in their well-doing. But I told you, Abba Yah, for your strength and for your hand of mercy to be upon our lives. I told you, Abba Yah, and pray that you strengthen that which remains and is about to die. For those, Abba Yah, that feel like their living is in vain, this day, Abba Yah, let the light of the Torah shine and let it bring them that strength and that encouragement that is needed on this great day. That they will know that it's not in vain. That they will know that every tear that they've cried, every pain that they have felt, it has not been in vain. But it is the birthing pains of them bringing forth that which you placed down on them, in them. A testimony, Abba Yah, for somebody else to know what it feels like to be disappointed, to be brokenhearted, and to be brought into a position and a place, Abba Yah, that they felt isolated and alone. I told you, Abba Yah, that these are the makings and these are the mechanics of building a people that will be able to stand, and having done all to stand, we will stand with our loins girt about with truth. For people understanding what it means to be heartbroken. For you are a mender of broken hearts. You tell us in Tehillim 147:3, you healeth the broken in heart and bind up our wounds. I told you, Abba Yah, for being a mender of broken hearts, of broken dreams, of broken aspirations. I told you, Abba Yah, for your will being done. I told you, Abba Yah, for unity and strength and no more division. I pray, Abba Yah, that you would give your people, that you would give us stamina and give us, Abba Yah, that strength. For we know and we have come to understand that the joy of knowing you, it is our strength. I told you, Abba Yah, for giving your people, your children, those that are still outside, that have not come to submission to your way and your way only. I pray for the prostituting sheep of Yisrael, that you would open their hearts and their minds to be receptive to your truth, and that they would no longer fight and no longer resist the Torah and those things that you have given unto us, your statutes and your judgments and your uprightness. I pray, Abba Yah, that you would cause your people this day, Abba Yah, to hold on and to gravitate and to accept your instructions and your guidance. I pray that their eyes would open and their ears would become unstopped, and they would be able to see as well as hear your way and your will for the life of us, your children. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, as we continue to move forward for the celebration of Pesach, those that have come to know it as Passover. I told you, Abba Yah, for preparing us as a nation, as a people, as the children of power, as we make preparations to celebrate it and to commemorate it, that we may be covered under the blood, that we may remember and see where you brought our ancestors from as you continue to cause us to walk and to move expeditiously. I told you, Abba Yah, for showing us geographically and showing us, Abba Yah, that this is the place of our enemies, and knowing because this is the place of our enemies, Abba Yah, giving us wisdom and strategy on how to live and how to yet progress even though we're in the midst of the enemy of our belief. I told you, Abba Yah, for showing us and bringing us to that place of great understanding. I pray, Abba Yah, that we will be mature enough to put away the bickering and the fussing and come together and reason with one another. No more debating, no more fighting, and no more bickering and fussing, but we would come together and reason, and that we would be a people, Abba Yah, that would see things as you saw them, that we would see things as you brought it forth through Yahusha, that he may convey it unto us, that we may walk in it and see it. I pray, Abba Yah, that this would be a time and a season, that we would truly rise up and be that people of wisdom, and that other nations would look unto us and call upon us for help and call upon us for wisdom. I pray, Abba Yah, that we will begin to get in our hearts and minds the purpose of our awakening, that we will realize that we will not awaken to waste precious, valuable time on bickering and fussing, and for every distraction, and for everything that rises against us. I told you, Abba Yah, for giving us strength and making our feet to be as hinds feet. I pray, Abba Yah, for those that are carrying burdens, especially burdens of the heart, from Mishpachah and from even those that are closest to their hearts, Abba Yah. I pray this great rising that you would help us stay focused and help us stay vigilant and help us to stay sober. Help us not to become intoxicated with the troubles and the trying of our belief, but help us to stay forward and look forward and continue to march, not just as your children, but as your army that you have raised up, Abba Yah, to be a signet in this world and to be a signet unto our people. I told you, Abba Yah, for your signature being written upon our hearts as well as our minds. I told you, Abba Yah, this great rising, for all that you're doing and all that you've done. Stir up the giftings in your people, Abba Yah. Stir up your prophets as you stirred them up of old, that we would speak your word in season, that we would rebuke, Abba Yah, when necessary, that we would encourage when necessary, but above all, Abba Yah, that we would be that light that would shine and show forth the directions and the way that we are to go. Help us, Abba Yah, to put away lying and backbiting and gossiping. Help us, Abba Yah, to truly stand as your people, as you have called us to stand. Help us to have zero tolerance for sin and for rebellion and disobedience. Help us, Abba Yah, to be quick in the Ruach HaKodesh to bring forth truth and to bring forth instructions, Abba Yah, to those that would stray and find themselves being contrary or walking contrary to your instructions. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, for those that find themselves in diverse temptations as they continue to move forward. Help them not to abort the mission you've given unto them as you have called us to be a people. Help us, Abba Yah, to put away being afraid, to put away, Abba Yah, being skeptical and leery of joining and being a part of a community and being a part of a body of believers. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, that we will find ourselves unifying and coming together as one. And I pray, Abba Yah, you would give us an eye to see and an ear to hear those that would come in and try to masquerade and try to hide as being one in truth, but yet inwardly they are ravenous wolves coming to ravage your sheep. I pray, Abba Yah, that you would give us leaders an eye to see those that are wolves and to see those that are sheep that have been broken and bruised and battered. I pray, Abba Yah, that as the question was, is there a balm in Gilead? Yes, there is a balm in Gilead. And I praise you, Abba Yah, for healing the sick and raising the dead and open blinding eyes and opening and unstopping deaf ears. I told you, Abba Yah, that we are a people of prosperity, that we are a people of manifestation and tangibility. For you have given us the ability through our belief in you and through the Ruach HaKodesh that we're able to stand and see the tangibility of your Torah in our lives. This great rising, Abba Yah, I pray for those that don't have a voice for themselves. I pray for those, Abba Yah, that have fallen into temptation and have fallen into deception, have fallen into the shadows of darkness and don't realize their deeds and their actions are going to cause them, Abba Yah, to miss out on you and to miss out on your promises. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, that the Ruach HaKodesh will begin to knock upon our hearts and begin to knock, Abba Yah, until we listen and we open up and allow her in to lead and guide us into all truth and to teach us your writings, your scrolls, Abba Yah. I told you this great rising that we would not be arrogant and proud and pompous, but we would be humble, Abba Yah. I told you as we continue to open up the scrolls that we will find ourselves humbled because you opened our eyes to see your truth, that you woke us up, Abba Yah. You could have left us sleep. You could have left us drowning in our sin, but you chose not to. And I told you, Abba Yah, that you were willing to open up and allow us to wake up, that we may walk in your truth. Now, Abba Yah, help us to remain committed and not fail you. Help us not to follow in the path of our ancestors and forefathers, those that forfeited. We know that all of them did not forfeit, but for the ones that did, that caused everybody to suffer because of their wrongdoing. As one falls, we all suffer the blunt of their arrogance and their disobedience. Help us to realize even in this day and disposition or dispensation that if one hurts, you said we all to hurt. If one rejoices, then we're all to rejoice with that one because we are a mishpachah. I told you, Abba Yah, for bringing down the walls of segregation even in our communities, even in our, Abba Yah, assemblies. Help us, Abba Yah, not to be partial, but help us to truly harbor with our whole hearts, regardless of who they are, especially of the household of Yisrael. I told you, Abba Yah, for healing is truly the children's bread. And as we continue to apply it to our lives, I told you, Abba Yah, for all things working together for the good of them that are harbor you and called and chosen according to your purpose. I told you, Abba Yah, this great rising, as we turn our faces toward Shemayim to seek you, Abba Yah, and to truly run hard after you. We don't come asking for the fishes and the loaves, but we do come asking for your blueprint, the plan that you've given us for life. We come, Abba Yah, looking for the plan of life in the Torah. Help us not to overlook it. Help us not to, Abba Yah, dismiss those things that you have shown us. Help us to accept correction. Help us, Abba Yah, when it comes from those that are really walking in the Ruach. Help us, Abba Yah, to truly unify and unite. Help us not to get be in competition with one another, because it's not about competition. Help us not to be competitive with one another, but help us truly to be a help to one another. I pray for those in this time that has suffered loss, Abba Yah, in this new year, in our new year. For those that have suffered loss of a mishpachah, of a friend, I pray, Abba Yah, you will give strength. And many didn't lose because they left this planet, but many have lost mishpachah because they don't want to walk in truth. Those that have lost mishpachah, even friends, that have walked away because they don't want to walk in truth, and because we've made a decision, a conscious decision to follow you with our whole hearts, with everything that we have, with our might and with our resources. This day, Abba Yah, help us to maintain our consistency. Help us, Abba Yah, to rise above the pain. Help us, Abba Yah, not to hate anybody, but help us truly, Abba Yah, to understand the impact and the importance of us unifying with those that are of the household of belief. As we may walk away from one mishpachah, you have opened us up to a whole nother mishpachah. And those are the believing children of Yisrael. I told you, Abba Yah, that we are never alone, that you are always with us, always beside us, there to guide us. And I told you, Abba Yah, for those that are struggling with those things in their heart, for those that, Abba Yah, feel like there are certain things and certain people they can't let go. Give them the strength this day to break those unhealthy soul ties. Help us, Abba Yah, to break soul ties and to break ties that do not bring us to a place of health. Help us, Abba Yah, to break them. And I told you, Abba Yah, for helping us to move forward. Forward ever, backwards never. Sink, we won't sink, but we will swim and we will live to declare your beauty unto all nations, the nation of Yisrael. I pray, Abba Yah, this great rising for those that are on their way to work, and for those that are already there, and for those that are coming home from work. Let their journey be made clear. Let their way home be clear and be safe without incident and accident. And for those that are on their way, let them make it there safe without incident and accident. And that when they get to their place of abode or get to their place of operation, that shalom would be there because they took it with them. I told you, Abba Yah, for those that face different situations and different trials on their job, I pray, Abba Yah, this great rising, that this will be a great week, and that they will find themselves prospering, and that they would see your esteem upon their lives, this great rising. I told you, Abba Yah, for every seed that we have sown, and for every seed that has been sown, that you would open up unto them 1,000-fold, that you would enlarge their territory, stretch out the borders of their business, expand it, that they would know that they're sowing, Abba Yah, not in good ground, but in great ground, ground that you have fertilized. I told you, Abba Yah, for those that have businesses and those that desire businesses and those that are in the operational stages of their business. I told you, Abba Yah, for those that have businesses that are still in the incubation period, for those that are bringing their businesses forth, I pray that you would connect them with the right people so that they're able to get the right resources so that their stuff will be able to flourish and not come to a point where it will flourish and then it die. But I pray, Abba Yah, for consistency and that it will grow and grow and grow. I told you, Abba Yah, for all of those that have been a great support to this ministry and that continue to open doors for them, grant them the desires of their heart, Abba Yah. And I told you, Abba Yah, even for those that have mishpachah that they are tending to and taking care of, I told you, Abba Yah, that everything they need, it'll be within their grasp and they won't have to worry, they won't have to struggle. But Abba Yah, that you will continue to baruch them from the crown of their head to the sole of their feet. I told you, Abba Yah, that their dwelling would be baruch, and that their going out would be baruch, that their meal barrel would be baruch. I told you, Abba Yah, for the baruch that you have placed upon us will add no sorrow. I told you, Abba Yah, for all that you're doing. I pray this great rising for you three as they continue to have a voice. I pray as their CD continues to go, that it will go international. And that it will go all around the world. That it will go in places, Abba Yah, that we never expected it to go. I pray, Abba Yah, that the ministry that you have placed upon them, the message that is in every song will reach every heart. And that it will find itself in places and in people's ears that need to hear it. That need to know from the ashes we rise. That need to know, Abba Yah, that they are a diamond in the rough. That need to know, Abba Yah, that you are supreme and that there is none beside you except your son, Yahushua HaMashiach. I told you, Abba Yah, for everyone that listens, that they will listen to the message And that message would revolutionize their way of life, and that they would see themselves, even those that are outside of truth, that they would see the beauty of who you are and the beauty of Torah. I Torah you, Abba Yah, for that what you're doing, that what you've done, and that what you're yet going to do. Continue to connect us with the right people, Abba Yah. Continue to allow us, Abba Yah, to collaborate with those, Abba Yah, that find it not robbery, to give us pointers and to help us. I told you, Abba Yah, for your will being done. Continue to keep us, continue to help us to stay focused, because it's not about us. We're not about building fans, and we're about building souls and to snatching those prostitutes out of that way of life into the life of truth. I told you, Abba Yah, for those that are aching within their heart and mind, that as they listen to these words, the words of truth and the words of power, that they will find themselves being encouraged even in situations that they feel that there is no encouragement. I pray, Abba Yah, that for every listener, that their heart would be brought to a place of strength, and that they would know without a shadow of a doubt that you were with them and that you didn't bring them out to lead them. I told you, Abba Yah, this great rising. For those of us, Abba Yah, that are asking and in dire, in need, Abba Yah, of great things to be manifested in our lives. I told you, Abba Yah, for your manifestation and for your Baruch upon us. And that everything we put our hands to do, Abba Yah, it shall prosper. Help us to help others, Abba Yah. In the mighty name of Yahushua Mashiach, as we continue to prepare for Pesach, help us no matter what we find ourselves facing, to not forget that there is a greater day and a better day ahead, and that better days are before us, and that we don't have to suffer alone, and that we don't have to go through by ourselves, but that we have a great mishpachah that's here and that's ready to be and give assistance as we can, as a people. I told you, Abba Yah, for your will being done. Breathe on us, Abba Yah, this day. Breathe on us. For those that have witty interventions and ideas, give them what they need to bring them forth, that they may truly be able to see the tangibility of it. For many that are desiring to be off of the man-made jobs, I told you, Abba Yah, for entrepreneurship and for their own businesses, and for giving them what they need in the hour that they need it. I told you, Abba Yah, for that what you're doing, that what you've done, and that what you're yet going to do. I pray a covering about your people, that as we go out and that as we continue with our day-to-day chores, that you will keep us safe and keep us out of harm's way, and keep us out of folly and out of the mouths and out of those, Abba Yah, that would desire our demise. Keep us out of the presence of mean men and mean women. I pray, Abba Yah, for the safety of those that continue to open doors for us, your people. I pray for Yehukanan and his mishpachah as he continues to have HIK and for the Hebrew Israelites be jamming. I told you, Abba Yah, for the venue and for the pages, social media, and for those, Abba Yah, that are on Facebook, and for those that are on YouTube, that continually open doors for us to get out the message and to get out, Abba Yah, those things. I pray you keep them encouraged, Abba Yah, that they will remain encouraged and not discouraged. And if they ever find themselves in the path of discouragement, that they will remember, Abba Yah, that they do have mishpachah, that do ahaba them and praying with them and for them. I told you, Abba Yah, for the reconciliation of mishpachah, for those that have been reconciled to mishpachah, and for those that have had to let some go and continue to move on. I told you for their strength, Abba Yah, and that they will continue to uphold the value of truth and continue to uphold that way of life and not be contaminated and not be, Abba Yah, drawn away or forced away from truth. I told you, Abba Yah, for those that stand today with us in this our time of prayer, that they didn't think it robbery, Abba Yah, to rise with us, to seek your face and to know your will. I pray, Abba Yah, that you will continue to open doors for your people. I told you, Abba Yah, for that what you're doing and that what you've done and that what you shall do. And it is so, and it is so, and it is so. Yashayah 51:11 tells us, therefore the redeemed of Yahuwah shall return, and come with singing unto Zion, and everlasting joy shall be upon their head, and they shall obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and mourning shall flee away. I told you, Abba Yah, that we have an expectation in you. I told you, Abba Yah. I told you for Philippians 4:8. Finally, brother, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are of esteem, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are beautiful, whatsoever things are of great report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. Let our day be full of the thinking of uprightness and the thinking and meditation upon Torah. For it is truly our way to maintain our consistency and our focus. And it is so. And it is so. Let us have a song, please.
We have come this far, I believe, leaning on Yahuwah, trusting in the Torah. He's never failed me yet. Oh, can't turn around. We've come this far, I believe. We have come this far, I believe. Leaning on Yahuwah, trusting in the Torah. He's never failed me yet. Oh, can't turn around. We've come this far, I believe. We have come this far, I believe. Leaning on Yahuwah, trusting in the Torah. He's never failed me yet. Oh, can't turn around. Come this far, I believe. We have come this far, I believe. Leaning on Yahuwah, trusting in the Torah. He's never failed me yet. Oh, can't turn around. We've come this far, I believe. We have come this far, I believe. Leaning on Yahuwah, trusting in the Torah. He's never failed me yet. Oh, can't turn around. We've come this far by belief.
Come on, Baruch him, Baruch him. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Come on, Baruch him, Baruch him. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty through Abba Yah to the pulling down of every stronghold. And you have to understand what a stronghold is. A stronghold is that what comes and attacks the mind. Because whenever the words of false words, words of fear come from the enemy or any surrounding area, what it comes to do, it comes to destroy our belief, or comes to try to destroy our belief in Abba Yah. That's why you have to understand the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. We don't use the carnal tactics as others do in warfare. We understand the number one thing that the enemy comes to do is do what? To destroy our belief in the Torah. And if he can destroy our belief in the Torah, then he can destroy our belief in Abba Yah, because Abba Yah is his Torah.
That's right.
And so it is important that we maintain and that we understand every attack that comes against you. Yes, you have to understand it's personal, but the number one thing the enemy wants is he wants your belief in the Torah. If anybody has ever seen the movie Rain of Fire, we understand that dragons, when they eat stuff, the first thing they do is turn it into ash. And that's when they consume it. Yes, you see them, eat the people right then and there. Some, but for the most part, pay close attention to them. You see that everything they did was torched everything. And after they torched it and made it ash, that's when they came and they consumed it. That's what the enemy wants to do, is he wants to burn up your belief. He wants to burn up my belief and make it ash so he can consume it.
That's right.
So we can't give it up to him. You can't give it up, give your belief up to him. You got to maintain and hold on to your belief in Abba Yah and in his instructions, because it is working for our greatness. And so we cannot afford to let it go, regardless of what situations we face. And I know some of us are facing situations that can be very overwhelming at times. Overwhelming mentally, socially, economically. And it just comes to try to wear you down and make you feel like, how am I going to make it from this? Let me tell you something, we can make it. But we got to believe we can make it, and we have to continue to voice print the atmosphere that we can make it and that we are more than conquerors through him that habit us more than anything else. Yes. So you got to maintain that. You got to hold that, and you got to believe it. Somebody say, I must believe it.
I must believe it.
You said again, I must believe it.
I must believe it.
Because you have to understand your belief is a great prize unto you, and it is the enemy's desire to destroy it and to make us feel like there is nothing else after this. Now we know, and what I mean by that, we know that we have a greater place. But in other words, that this is just what it's going to be. Let me tell you something. Abba Yah wants us to be happy. He wants us to be joyful as well as happy. We got to do it in his, do it the way he calls us to do it. And I know it can become very challenging when you're trying to deal with people that don't want truth, when you're trying to deal with people that you can't make people believe, and you can't make people accept truth. All you can do is live the life. And in doing so, you have to understand you are pleasing to Abba Yah. That's right. And by being pleasing to him, he opens doors and he causes things to work in our esteem. So once again, I just want to encourage you to keep your heads up and keep your shoulders squared and keep your heart and your feet in and upon the Torah, because you can't go wrong when you do these things, and it is so.
And it is so.
Mishlei 15:8, the sacrifices of the wicked is an abomination, hateful and exceedingly offensive unto you, Abba Yah. But the prayer of the upright, it is your delight. Mishlei 3:4, so shall you find great understanding, high esteem in the sight of judgment of Yahuwah and man. And it is so.
And it is so.
Tehillim 34:15. The eyes of Yahuwah are upon the upright, and his ears are open unto our cry. Verse 17, the upright cry, Yahuwah heareth and delivereth us out of all our troubles. Acts 1:8, but we shall receive power after that. The Ruach HaKodesh is come upon us, and we shall be witnesses unto him both in Jerusalem and all Judea and Shamar and unto the uttermost part of the earth. And it is so.
And it is so.
Tehillim 1:1. Baruch is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the unrighteous, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the instructions of Abba Yah, and he doth meditate upon it. And it is so.
And it is so.
Ibram 11:6. But without belief it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Yahuwah must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Ayah 33:4, the Ruach HaKodesh of Yahuwah hath made me, and the breath of the Almighty hath given me life. And it is so.
And it is so.
Mark 11:24, which is Yahushua, Yehukanan Moshiach, 11:24. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever you desire when you pray, believe that you receive them, and you shall have them. Yehukin and Aleph, chapter 5, verse 4 and 5. For whatsoever things, or for whatsoever is born of Yahuwah overcometh the world, and this is the victory that overcometh the world, even our belief. Who is he that overcometh the world? But he that believeth that Yahushua is the son of Yahuwah. Yehukin and Aleph, chapter 2, verse 5 and 6. But whoever keeps his Torah, truly the Ahab of Yahuwah is perfected in him. By this we know that we are in him. He who says he abides in him ought himself also to walk just as he walked. Verse 17, and the world passes away and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of Yahuwah abideth forever. Somebody say abideth forever.
Abideth forever.
Say it again, abideth forever.
Abideth forever.
And it is so.
And it is so.
That is a promise. You have to understand, we don't die, we go to sleep, but even in our sleep, we still abide. We're not dead.
That's right.
We abide. And it is so.
And it is so.
Devarim chapter 11 verses 13 through 22, and it reads, and it shall come to pass, if you listen carefully to my commandments, which I command you this day, to Ahab Yahuwah your power, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, that I will give you the rain of your land in its due season, the first rain and the latter rain, that you may gather in your corn and your wine and your oil. And I will send grass in your fields for your cattle, that you may eat and be full. Take heed to yourselves, that your heart be not deceived, and you turn aside and serve other power and worship them. And then Yahuwah's wrath be ignited against you, and he shut up Shemayim, that there be no rain, and that the land yield not her fruit, unless you perish quickly from off the great land which Yahuwah gives you. Therefore shall you lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as frontlets between your eyes, to fall, to bind to the mind. And you shall teach them your children, speaking of them when you sit in your bed, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall write them upon the doorposts of your bed, and upon your gates, that your days may be multiplied, and that the days of your children in the land which Yahuwah swore unto your Abbas, to give them as the days of Shemayim upon the earth. For if you shall carefully keep all these commandments which I command you to do them, to Ahab Yahuwah your power, to walk in all his halakha, and to cling unto him. And we know the latter part of that verse, even though it's about 3 or 4 sentences, the sum of it is the victory. Mm-hmm. If we would do all these things, we can look forward to victory, not in the by and by, but even here right now. We can experience victory like never before. We have to claim that victory. And I have the part of the song on the CD where it says, we have to own it. You have to walk in it like you own it. I own victory, and because I own it, I can walk in it. Are you understanding me?
Yes.
And we don't need the mentality anytime I want to. You need to walk in it all the time. Sure. You own your skin, and you're in it all the time. You don't ever separate from your skin. At least I hope you don't. So that means we are to do this. Are you understanding me? Because it's a part of our what? Lifestyle. It may not feel like it. Understand, there are times you may not feel like you have the victory, but we don't go by feeling. We go by what? Belief.
That's right.
It's not about a feeling. Because if that's the case, sometime when you rise up, you sometimes feel like the whole world is sitting upon your shoulders and sitting upon your heart, but you know it's not. So it's about a belief. We've got to remember that he is our strength, and he is our comforter and our confidant. Remember this great rising. Keep your head up, keep your shoulders squared, and keep your focus in and upon the Torah. No matter what's going on, maintain your consistency and maintain your stamina in him. Don't become intoxicated. Don't become inebriated. Is that right? Inebriated. Don't allow yourself to be swayed. Don't allow yourself to be caught up in things are not edifying. But maintain that walk, and you have to understand, excuse me, that even in this, it's only going to be a remnant. So we need to make sure we are part of that remnant. Are you understanding? Because only the pure in heart going to see him. And it's important that we know that we are pure in heart, because we're following him with everything in us. And you have to understand, you can't lose if you maintain your consistency in him. And it is so. And it is so. And it is so. Once again, stay encouraged, and allow Abba Yah to speak to your heart throughout this day. Also, this is a day of fasting for us and a time of consecration. I always encourage people in this time, dedicate this whole time to him. If you're going to fast up until breakfast or after breakfast, that time, dedicate that time to him. If you're going to fast up until lunchtime, dedicate that whole time to him. Don't do anything on social media. Don't be on it. Unless Abba Yah directs you there, don't go on it. And if you're going to do it till dinner, up for dinner, don't do it until after you have finished that time of consecrating yourself to him. Why? Because we want to give him our undivided attention. I know we do these things, some of us, day to day, but it's important that we choose days throughout the week to fast. And these are the days that we fast, Yom Shalishi and Yom Kamishi. These are the days that he's given unto us. And these days, the days that we rise up and open up ourselves and open up this place for community prayer, if you want to call it that. A time that you can come in and pray and you can praise. No, I don't do the telephone calls. I do it in this manner. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
It's a time where we allow, because everybody may not call. And I realize that everybody has their own, assignment. And this is our assignment, to be open and to come live so that you can join in with us and pray. Post up your requests. Send them to me in the messages. I will get them. And trust me, we do pray over them. But this is the way he's given it unto me. And so this is the way he's given it unto me. We open it up so that you can join us wherever you are. And I realize everybody can't call, because when you at work, you can't dial the phone and call. You can listen, though. And you can pray within your heart. So I told Abba Yah for what he's doing. And for those that do call, I pray that that the call response be great. And that those that are calling, coming on, are not calling to be antagonistic, but they're calling because they truly want to not just be in prayer, but they want to pray. And it is so. And it is so. As we come to this portion of our time to seal and to consecrate this time, let us bow our heads before our King and let us recite this together. May the utterance of my mouth, and the deliberation of my heart, be desirable before you. O Yahuwah, my rock, and my redeemer. May the utterance of my mouth, and the deliberation of my heart, be desirable before you. O Yahuwah, my rock, and my redeemer. And it is so. And it is so. And it is so. We've just recited Tehillim 19 and 15. Once again, I want to say to you, by way of announcements, the CD has been released. So all of you that have not come by and had an opportunity to pick one up, please do so. The link, it is on my page. And I promise you, you will not be disappointed. It is not just a bunch of songs. It is ministry at its finest. I mean, at its finest. The Ruach Kodesh breathed upon you three and gave them the message to give unto us, his people. And it's encouraging, it's uplifting, and it is insightful. And I tell you, it is our first full CD. And so, once again, we are not about trying to build fans. We are about building a people. And so, if you have not visited us, please do so. And share it with others, because we want this thing to go international. We want it to get to the four extremities, because people need to know. And people need to know that they are important to Abba Yah, and they need to know out of the ashes we rise, his amazing mercy. So understand, no matter what situation you're in, you may feel like you under the ashes, but you will rise up out of those ashes, because we are his people. Once again, I want you to stay encouraged this day. I want you to keep your head up, keep your shoulders squared, and keep your heart and your feet in and upon the Torah, because we can't go wrong. I want you to remember that I am Prophetess Sabrina Brown, also more 777, and I am the leader of Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom of Great Belief Ministries. Also, I am the CEO of ETS, End Time Sounds. So I want you to know once again that we're praying with you, we're praying for you, we are helping you, and if you need prayer, please message me at Messengers. If you have questions, please send it to me, a messenger from your mouth to my ears and to the ears and heart of Abba Yah. Once again, I am Prophetess Sabrina Brown, also more 777, and I am the leader of Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom of Bread Belief Ministries, located in South Carolina. I want you to remember here at Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom of Bread Belief Ministries, this is the place where
the Torah does the body excellent.
Until next time, may Abba Yah Baruch Atah and keep you in his shalom until we meet again. Also, I want you to remember that you've been touched by Champion TV, a place where champions reside. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so.